Elias Ward had always believed that silence was peaceful, but life in deep space taught him a different truth. Silence could also feel heavy, almost like a weight pressing on his chest. For 3 long years, he worked as a communications specialist aboard the exploration vessel Horizon Spear. Every waking day felt the same, checking signals, monitoring frequencies, and waiting for messages that rarely came. Space was huge, but strangely, Elias felt smaller inside it. He was the kind of man who spoke softly and listened more than he talked. People often missed his presence when he entered a room, but they always noticed his kindness. Even in the coldest corners of the ship, Elias tried to keep a warm heart. Yet no matter how warm he tried to be, loneliness still wrapped around him like a blanket he could never remove. One quiet morning, while everyone else was half asleep and drinking cheap, rehydrated coffee, the ship suddenly trembled with a strange sound. It wasn't loud, just sharp enough to cut through the usual silence. Elias sat up straight, his fingers pausing above the control panel. A soft, trembling voice echoed from the speakers, something unlike any human language he had ever heard. The voice wasn't just a signal, it felt like a cry. The room around him erupted into motion. Officers rushed to their stations. Engineers opened emergency channels, but Elias didn't move. He closed his eyes and listened carefully because something inside him responded in a way he couldn't explain. The voice came again, soft, broken, full of fear. "Please, someone." The words were unclear, but the emotion behind them was bright as a flare in darkness. Elias felt it hit him somewhere deep inside, like he wasn't hearing the message with his ears but with his chest, his heartbeat echoing the same rhythm of panic and hope. The captain ordered their ship to change course. The distress signal led them to an uncharted region near a small moon with an icy surface and a sky full of strange purple clouds. Floating beside the moon, barely functioning, was a small escape pod. The metal looked foreign, smooth like carved glass, glowing with symbols that pulsed faintly. When the pod was brought aboard, most crew members stayed behind the safety line. Unknown alien technology was dangerous. But Elias stepped closer, feeling an invisible thread pulling him forward. The pod door hissed open with a soft, pained sigh, as if even the machine was exhausted. Inside lay someone who didn't look dangerous at all. A young alien woman, unconscious, wrapped in shimmering blue fabric that flowed like moving water. Her skin was pale with silver patterns, delicate lines shaped like constellations. Her eyes, still closed, held faint violet shadows beneath them, as if she had cried for hours before falling asleep. She looked fragile, as if even a breath of wind might break her. Elias stared at her, struck silent. He didn't know why he felt such a strong pull toward someone he had never met. Maybe it was the fear still visible on her face. Maybe it was the loneliness she carried like a mirror reflecting his own. Or maybe it was because, for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone anymore. When she finally opened her eyes, the world felt different. Her gaze met his immediately, like she had been searching only for him. Her eyes were deep violet, bright with confusion and hope. The moment their eyes connected, Elias felt a strange warmth travel through his chest. She blinked, her lips parting as if she needed to speak but didn't know how. Then a soft sound escaped her, gentle, breathless. "You heard me." The words weren't perfectly human, but close enough that everyone around gasped. Elias nodded slowly, unable to look away. "I did," he whispered. Her fingers trembled as she reached forward, not touching him but reaching toward the sound of his voice. She looked scared yet relieved. Her breath caught, and suddenly her silver markings glowed faintly under the ship's lights. In that single moment, Elias felt something inside him shift, something warm, protective, and strangely familiar. He didn't know who she was, where she came from, or why he could understand her. But he knew one thing for certain. Her cry had reached him for a reason. And his heart answered before his mind could. Woke slowly, her senses still tangled between fear and exhaustion. The lights above her were unfamiliar, soft white instead of the gentle blue glow of her. She pushed herself up weakly, her silver-marked arms trembling under her own weight. The room she lay in was quiet, filled with machines humming softly. Everything looked cold and metallic, yet one warm presence made the space feel less frightening. "Elias." He stood a few steps away, unsure whether to approach or give her space. His hands were tucked nervously against his sides, and his eyes carried a mixture of worry and gentle patience. Notice the worry first. No one had ever looked at her that way, not even her royal guardians. Human eyes were different, softer, more open. When she tried to speak, her voice came out unsteady. "Where am I?" Elias stepped closer, carefully, like he didn't want to scare her. "You're on a human ship. You sent a distress call. We brought you here to keep you safe." Safe? The word felt strange to her. She had not felt truly safe since the moment her vessel was attacked. Flames, screams, and broken metal still echoed inside her mind like a storm she couldn't escape. My ship," she whispered. "It was damaged beyond repair," Elias answered softly. "But you're alive, that's what matters." Lowered her gaze, fighting the sting behind her eyes. Surviving meant she had lost others, people who had sworn to protect her. Guilt squeezed her chest. She didn't want strangers to see her cry, especially not this human whose voice had somehow reached her heart before she even opened her eyes. But even as she fought the rising emotion, she felt something else, an odd sense of familiarity in Elia's presence. She didn't understand it, yet she didn't want it to disappear. A soft beep sounded from the doorway. Doctor, the ship's medic, entered the room holding a scanner. "How are you feeling?" she asked gently. Tried to answer, but Elias stepped forward first. She was scared when she woke up. "Let's take it slow." Blinked. He was protecting her from worry. Not because she was a princess. Not because she was special. But because he genuinely cared. Doctor checked vitals, nodding approvingly. "Your body is recovering faster than expected. You're stronger than you look." Looked down at her silver markings, the ones shaped like shimmering constellations. "They hide the weakness," she murmured. Elias tilted his head. "I don't think they hide it. I think they show something beautiful." Her breath caught. No one had ever spoken about her markings with such softness. Most people in her kingdom saw them as symbols of status. Some saw them as burdens she must carry. But this human, he saw something gentle in them. After Doctor left, Elias brought her a warm drink in a small metal cup. "Humans call this broth. It's simple, but it helps when you're tired." Lifted the cup and tasted it slowly. It was warm, comforting, nothing like the rich energy drinks of her palace, but it eased the tightness in her throat. "You helped me," she said quietly, "even though you did not know me." Elias shrugged slightly, though his eyes were kind. "You called for help, I just listened." Set the cup down, studying him carefully. "Most beings only help when they get something in return." "Then they're missing something important," he replied softly. "Helping someone is already a reward." His words settled inside her like a gentle warmth. Humans were strange, loud-hearted, and unexpectedly brave. Elias especially. He made space for her pain without judging it. He spoke softly, not because she was fragile, but because he respected the weight she carried. Later that night, as she watched the stars through the small window beside her bed, she whispered, "You humans see the universe in a different way." Elias smiled from the chair beside her. "Maybe, or maybe you feel safe enough to see it differently." Safe. That word again. Her chest tightened, not with fear this time, but with something she couldn't name. Something warm, something new. Did not understand why her heart reacted whenever Elias spoke. She didn't understand the strange glow in her markings when he stood close. But she knew one thing. Her life had changed the moment he answered her cry. And she wasn't sure if she was ready to return to the life she had before. The days that followed were calm, almost peaceful. Healed slowly, finding comfort in small moments, warm broth, human laughter drifting from the cafeteria, the quiet hum of engines beneath her feet. But her favorite moments were always the ones when Elias visited. He brought stories of Earth, pictures of wide oceans and green forests, and the kind of gentle company she didn't know she had needed. But peace is a fragile thing in space. On the fourth day, the ship alarm suddenly blasted through the corridors. Red lights flashed, and the air vibrated with urgency. Elias ran toward the command deck and followed instinctively despite her still tired body. When they reached the viewing screen, froze. A massive warship hovered outside, sleek black metal, glowing blue rings, and the royal insignia carved boldly across its hull. The Dominions. Her people. His breath caught painfully. They had found her. Captain turned toward her with cautious eyes. Princess, is this your ship? Nodded slowly. Yes, that is the vessel of my royal guard. Elias looked at her, reading the fear in her face even before she spoke. A communication request flashed on the screen. Shall we accept it? The captain asked. Hesitated, her heart pounded like a trapped bird. She knew what her people expected from her. She knew the rules, the duties, the path her life was supposed to follow. But now things felt different. Accept the transmission, she finally whispered. The screen flickered to life, revealing a tall figure in ceremonial armor. His silver cape flowed behind him like liquid metal. His eyes were stern, sharp, and deeply familiar. Commander, her father's most loyal guard. A man raised to value order above all else. Princess said, bowing with rigid formality, we have come to retrieve you. The council awaits your safe return. His voice sounded polite, but knew the cold steel beneath it. Elias stood slightly behind her, silent but protective. His eyes flicked toward him with open disapproval. This human vessel has my gratitude for rescuing our princess, said, but her stay here is over. Swallowed hard. I am not ready to return yet. His brows tightened. Your Highness, you were attacked. You were lost in space. Your people fear the worst. You must come home immediately. His voice shook. There are things I need to understand first. Understand? Repeated slowly, his tone darkening. There is nothing for you to learn here. You are a royal heir. Your life does not belong to uncertainty. Elias took a quiet step forward. She's still recovering. Maybe she needs more time. His eyes hardened like stone. And who are you to speak for her? Elias felt the heat rise in his chest, but kept his tone steady. I'm the one who heard her distress call, the one who stayed with her. His heart twisted at the tension forming between them. Looked back at her, his voice cold and commanding. You have responsibilities, Princess. A bond waiting, a future promised. You cannot form attachments elsewhere. Felt her breath falter. She understood what he meant. In the Dominion, royal heirs were bound to someone chosen for them, someone with the matching resonance energy. It was a sacred duty, one she was supposed to accept without question. But since meeting Elias, something felt different in her chest. Her markings glowed softly around him. Her pulse reacted when he spoke. It wasn't something she could easily ignore. I need time, she said again, stronger this time. His expression cracked with disbelief. You cannot be considering a human as... He snapped, her voice trembling but fierce. Do not finish that sentence. The control room fell silent. Elias looked between them, not fully understanding, but feeling the sharp pain hidden in his voice. Inhaled slowly, his tone softening only a little. Princess, your father will not accept this. The council will never allow you to delay the bonding ceremony. Felt her throat close. A ceremony. A bond she never chose. A path she never wanted. She looked at Elias, gentle, quiet, steady Elias, and something inside her whispered a truth she wasn't ready to say aloud. He made her feel seen. He made her feel free. Ended the transmission with a final statement. You have one day before we board your ship. Decide wisely. The screen went dark. Sneeze weakened, and Elias reached out to steady her. Are you okay? He murmured. She swallowed the tears building behind her eyes. No, she whispered, because now my heart is torn between two worlds, couldn't sleep that night. The glow of the stars outside her window felt colder than before. Shadows danced across the room as the ship drifted silently through space, but her mind was louder than any engine. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw two faces, stern warning and Elia's gentle worry. She pulled her knees to her chest, breathing slowly. Her people expected her to return, to accept the bond chosen for her, to become the future queen of the Dominion. It was a future filled with duty, not choice. But then there was Elia's. A human who spoke softly, who listened without judgment, who made space for her fears. Someone who treated her not like a princess, but like a person. And that was something she had never experienced before. When morning came, Elias knocked lightly on her door. "Can I come in?" Her heart reacted before her mind did. "Yes, please." The door slid open and Elias stepped inside, carrying a tray with warm food. He tried to smile, but the worry in his eyes was clear. "I wasn't sure what you could eat," he said, placing the tray gently on the table. "But doctor said this should be safe for you." Stared at the food, then at him. "You didn't have to bring this." "I know," he replied softly, "but I wanted to." Something warm fluttered in her chest. They sat together in quiet silence for a moment. Elias watched her carefully, waiting for her to speak first. When she finally did, her voice trembled. "My people, they will arrive tomorrow. They want me to return." Elias nodded slowly. "I figured." "I am afraid," she whispered. "Not because of the danger, but because of what they expect from me." Elias leaned forward. "And what do you want?" Lowered her gaze. "I don't know. I only know what my heart feels when I am near you." The words hung in the air, soft, fragile, and full of meaning. Elias froze, breath caught, but he didn't interrupt her. She looked down at her glowing markings, tracing them with her fingertips. "In my culture, these markings react to emotional resonance. When two souls are connected, the glow becomes stronger." "Connected how?" Elias asked quietly. Hesitated, then answered honestly. Like. Elias inhaled sharply. "But these markings," she continued, "they have never reacted to anyone before, not to the one chosen for me, not to any, only to you." Her voice trembled at the last words, her heart beating painfully fast. Elias reached out slowly, giving her plenty of time to pull away. When she didn't, he gently touched the back of her hand. The moment his skin brushed hers, her markings brightened with a soft, warm light. His breath shook. "It shouldn't be possible." Elias whispered, "But it is." For a long time they sat there, their fingers almost intertwined. Silence didn't feel heavy between them. It felt alive, filled with possibilities neither had imagined before. Later took him to the observation deck. She wanted to show him something she had not shared with anyone. She lifted her hand, letting her energy markings glow. The light shimmered through the glass, reflecting like tiny stars dancing across her skin. "This is my resonance," she explained. "It reacts to emotions, to bonds." Elias stared, fascinated. "It's beautiful." But shook her head. "It is dangerous. If my people learn that you trigger it, they will see you as a threat. A human forming resonance with a princess is unheard of." Elias swallowed. "What does it mean, truly?" Took a shaky breath. "It means my heart is choosing. It means something deep is waking inside me, and I don't know how to stop it." Her voice cracked. Elias stepped closer, not touching her yet, but close enough that she could feel the warmth of his presence. "You don't have to stop it," he whispered. "Not if it's what you want." His eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of relief. "I don't know what I want yet," she admitted, "but I know what I feel when you are near." He offered a small smile. "Then let's figure it out together." A soft sound escaped her lips, a mixture of laughter and a broken sob. Her markings glowed brighter than ever, wrapping her hands in warm silver light. For the first time in her life, felt a future she wanted, one chosen by her heart, not by duty. But in the back of her mind, she knew the truth. Tomorrow would come. Tomorrow, her world would demand answers. And she wasn't sure if her heart was ready for the battle to come. The next morning arrived too quickly. The horizon's spear felt heavier than ever, as if the entire ship knew a storm was coming. Crew members moved quietly through the halls, their voices low, their eyes filled with sympathy for. She stood near the central window, staring out at the approaching warship, a giant shadow against the stars. Elias approached her slowly. His footsteps were soft, but his heart was loud with worry. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. "Didn't turn. No, but I cannot hide from what is coming." Her voice trembled like a fragile string. Elias wanted to take her hand, but he stopped himself. She already had too much pressure on her. He didn't want to add more. "Whatever happens," he said softly, "you won't face it alone." Finally looked at him. For a moment, she forgot about duty, forgot about destiny. She only saw the human who had made the darkness less terrifying. Her markings glowed faintly, responding to the warmth inside her chest. She wished the moment could last forever. But the docking alarm ended the silence. The boarding party arrived with perfect discipline, rows of armored soldiers with glowing blue spears, their movements sharp and controlled. At the front stood Commander, his silver eyes unblinking. The atmosphere tightened the moment he saw Elias beside. "Princess," said sternly, "step away from the human." Stood her ground, "I will not." A ripple of shock moved through the soldiers. His jaw clenched. "You were raised to honor your duty, to protect the future of our people. But now I see hesitation, confusion. You are allowing your emotions to cloud your purpose." Lifted her chin, struggling to keep her voice steady. "I am not confused. I am discovering myself." "By forming an attachment to a human," snapped. Elias felt the words like a blow, but he stayed quiet, letting speak for herself. "It is not an attachment," said softly. "It is something deeper, stronger, something I did not choose, yet it chose me." Her markings glowed brighter as if proving her words. Gasps escaped the guards. His face darkened, resonance with him. Stepped forward protectively, "Stop," but stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Princess, this is impossible, dangerous. Humans are unstable, short-lived, and weak compared to our kind. A resonance bond between species could save me," interrupted. "It already has." Elias swallowed hard. Hearing her defend him felt unreal, almost painful in its beauty. Turned toward Elias, his tone icy. "What did you do to her?" Elias met his stare calmly. "Nothing. She saved herself. I just listened when she cried for help." Whispered, "He reached my heart when even my own people could not." Exhaled sharply, losing patience. He raised his hand, signaling his guards to prepare. "You will return with us. The council will remove this influence." His blood ran cold. "You want to break the resonance?" "For the good of the kingdom, yes." "No," cried, her voice cracking. "You cannot. It will destroy my mind, my soul." Elias froze. "What do you mean, destroy?" Turned to him with tears in her eyes. "If they forcefully cut a resonance, part of me will die inside. I will survive, but I will not be myself anymore." Elias felt something inside him shatter. He stepped between and, "Then you're not taking her." Gasps echoed again, this time from both crews. Stared at Elias like he was mad. "You are a human. You do not have the right to stand against a commander." Elias didn't back down. "Maybe not, but I have the right to protect someone I care about." His breath trembled. The glow in her markings spread up her arms, across her face, like soft silver fire responding to Elias' courage. His eyes widened. "Her resonance, it's reacting to you again." Elias gently took his hand. "It's okay," he whispered. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." Her markings exploded with light, warm, bright, alive. The entire room froze. Looked almost frightened now. "This is an unbreakable resonance." Felt tears fall down her cheeks. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Elias squeezed her hand. "Maybe it was meant to." Lowered his weapon slowly, shaken. "This bond cannot be undone without damaging the princess. But if she chooses this path, she will lose her title, her kingdom, everything." His heart pounded painfully. Elias looked at her, his voice soft but steady. "You don't have to choose right now, but whatever you decide, I'll stand beside you." His tears fell like stars breaking. She had one day to decide her future. But in that moment, she already knew. Her heart was choosing the impossible. The morning after the escape felt strangely calm. The alien sky above them was painted with soft purple clouds, and a cold wind moved through the broken trees around the safe valley. Opened his eyes slowly, his body still aching from the long night of running and fighting. Beside him, Princess sat on a large stone, her silver eyes watching him with a tired but warm smile. She looked different now, less like a royal leader, more like someone who had finally found a little hope after years of fear. Pushed himself up, rubbing his neck. "You stayed awake all night." Nodded gently. "I had to make sure the trackers did not find us, and I just wanted to be sure you were safe." Her voice trembled slightly. It was the first time had seen her this vulnerable. The strong princess, the determined warrior, now looked like someone afraid of losing the one person she had learned to trust. Sat beside her. "You don't have to protect me alone anymore. We will face everything together." Her eyes softened at his words. She looked down at her hands, then at the glowing stone she always carried, the symbol of her royal bond, a stone that reacted to emotions and connection. It glowed softly whenever she was near him. "I still don't understand why the stone reacts to you," she whispered. "Why it chose you a human." Shrugged lightly. "Maybe it doesn't choose based on species. Maybe it chooses based on the heart." She stared at him, her breath catching for a moment. "You say such simple words, yet they break open the walls inside me." Before he could reply, a loud crack of energy echoed across the valley. Both of them turned sharply. A ship, dark, sharp, and heavy, appeared above the trees. His heart dropped. "The hunters found us." Stood quickly, her cape fluttering behind her. "No, this is not the hunters. This ship belongs to my mother." The Queen felt the air freeze around him. He had heard the stories, how the Queen was powerful, strict, and feared across half the galaxy. If she believed was some intruder who dared to bond with her daughter, she might destroy him without a second thought. The ship landed with a low rumble, and the wind pushed back the grass around them. The door opened slowly, revealing tall royal guards in blue armor, and behind them the Queen herself walked out. Her presence was overwhelming. She wore a long dark robe that shimmered like starlight, and her crown glowed with symbols didn't recognize. Her eyes immediately found her daughter. She said, her voice deep and full of power. "You escaped the palace, you disobeyed your counsel, and now I find you with," her gaze cut to, "a human." Felt his stomach twist. He bowed, unsure of what else to do. Stepped in front of him, spreading her arms protectively. "Mother, he saved my life. He protected me when no one else did, and it chose him." The Queen's eyes shifted to the glowing stone. For a moment, confusion crossed her face, then shock. "That is impossible," she whispered. "A human cannot form a bond with our kind. It has never happened in recorded history." Felt's hand moved back until it gently touched his. "It happened," she said quietly, "and I will not deny it." Silence filled the valley. Even the wind felt like it had stopped moving. The Queen walked closer, studying with cold, calculating eyes. "Human," she said slowly, "do you understand what this bond means? If you accept it, you will be tied to my daughter's destiny. Her enemies will become yours. Her pain will become yours. Her life and her heart will belong to you." Swallowed hard, he could feel his chest pounding. He looked at her worried eyes, her trembling hands, her hope mixed with fear. "I don't know everything about your world," he said softly, "but I know I won't leave her, not now, not ever." The Queen stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then she looked at the stone again. Its glow grew brighter, warm, gentle, undeniable. Finally, the Queen exhaled. "Then destiny has chosen," she said quietly, "and I must accept what even the universe cannot change." Gasped softly, felt her grip tighten around his hand. For the first time, the Queen's expression softened. "Come," she said. "If my daughter has chosen her, then you human will stand beside her." A new future opened in front of them, dangerous, complicated, but beautiful. And knew this was only the beginning.